All right, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Community East, no, Harbour East, Marine Drive Community Council. There you go. And welcome to those who are watching from home. I'll call this meeting to order and just say the land acknowledgement that Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. So I will call for the approval of the minutes from March 27th, 2023. Okay, excellent. Councillor Austin and Councillor Hensby seconded. Approval of the order of business and approval of additions and deletions. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Chair Purdy. There are no additions or deletions from the clerk's office.
Okay, business arising out of the minutes? None. Call for yes.
We need a motion to approve the order.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Kent and Hensby? Oh, yeah. All in favor? I just assumed we're all in favor. Okay, excellent. So business arising out of the minutes? None. Call for declaration of conflict of interest? None. Motions of reconsideration, we have none. Motions of rescission, we have none. We don't have any consideration of deferred business and no notices of tabled matters. So that brings us to our public hearing. We have a public hearing for case 24573, the development agreement for 519 Cow Bay Road in Eastern Passage. So thank you for joining us for this public hearing. We are going to start with the staff presentation and then we'll open the public hearing.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council members. My name is Yanan Go, and I'm a planner with HRM Planning and Development Regional Planning at the moment. So tonight I'm going to present for case 24573 public hearing. This is an application to enter into development agreement for a 2-story, 12 units dwelling development at 519 Cow Bay Road, Eastern Passage. So our applicant today is Romskig Bryfield Limited. This might sound familiar to you because they just had a similar application submitted and approved in January this year, 12 units, 2-story development as well. So the location for this application is 519 Cow Bay Road, Eastern Passage, and their proposal is to enter into a development agreement for a 2-story, 12 units residential building. So the image to the right is site plan provided by the applicant. You can see the proposed main residential building is sitting at the back of the property with 16 parking spaces at the front of it and has direct access to Cow Bay Road. And we'll talk about the details of the proposal later. So in terms of site context, image to the left is showing the general site location in red. It is in Cow Bay Road area and Eastern Passage. And image to the right is showing site boundaries in red. The site is about 2,000 square meters in area, has direct access to Cow Bay Road, and the back of the property is covered with mature vegetations. So the site is in a established neighborhood, which is mostly single unit and two unit dwellings. So to the southwest of subject site, along Cow Bay Road, there are larger semi-detached dwelling units, and to the southeast side of the subject property, around 200 meters, is our Eastern Passage Education Center. Those images are the site photos. Image to the left is looking northeast from Cow Bay Road, and image to the right is looking southeast from Cow Bay Road. As you can see from the image, the subject property is pretty flat in topography, and there is a single unit on site at the front of the property. And the back of the property, and there is accessory use and some mature trees. So this slide, I'm sure councilors are already familiar with this. It talks about HRM's planning policy in hierarchy system. The highest level policy is regional plan. It identifies population growth and investment of our large service like transit, pipe, water, and sewage. The second tier of municipal plan is community plan. It is more customized to different communities. So today's application 24573, the governing municipal planning strategy is our Eastern Passage Cow Bay Municipal Planning Strategy. So the third tier of plan is land use bylaw. It provides detailed regulation regarding how a land can be developed and contains information such as zoning, setback, and height regulations. So our proposal today is governed by the Eastern Passage Cow Bay Municipal Planning Strategy, as we have just talked about. It's serviced by municipal sewer and water. It's currently Zone 2 unit dwelling zone and is under urban residential designation. Currently, there is a single unit dwelling on site. The enabling policy for this application is policy UR8. It allows, it permits small-scale multi-unit residential development in established neighborhood. So this illustrates the planning process we have gone through to come to public hearing today. We have done a detailed staff review for this application, public engagement, and the staff report was prepped and for Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council first reading on March 27th, 2023. And today we're at public hearing stage. Today's decision on this application, either approve or reject this application, is appealable to UARB, and there is a 14-day appeal period. The development agreement will be effective if no appeal received, and the applicant can proceed to permitting stage after that. So some highlights about this proposal. As we already discussed, the site plan shows a two-story residential development that contains 12 units. The general site of the main building is at the back of this property, and each of the proposed units will have a balcony or patio for their amenity space. There will be a 16 at-grade vehicle parking space located at the front of the property. It can be accessed via a two-way driveway directly from Cow Bay Road, and 10 Class B and Class A bicycle parking space will also provided for this residents. This is an image when you look at this proposed development from Cow Bay Road directly. So that's the facade facing Cow Bay Road. The entrance is right in the middle. And that's another elevation image you can kind of see when you look at this building from northeast directions. So enabling policy for this application is policy UR8. It permits multiple unit dwelling within the urban residential designation, which are of small scale and in keeping with the no density character of the surrounding area. The policy speaks to a few factors that council consider while making decision on this development agreement. That includes that the maximum number of dwelling units shall not exceed 12 units. There should be adequacy setback of the building to mitigate impacts on the surrounding neighborhood. The building height, bulk, appearance, and lot coverage shall be compatible with this environment and the neighborhood. And there should be enough landscaping and parking area for the proposed development. And also municipal service should be available and sufficient to support the proposed development. So our public engagement level of public engagement was consultation achieved through providing information and seeking comments through the HRM website, signage posted on the subject property, and 181 mail notifications. So far, we have received 7 community members reach out directly to planning staff, provide their comments and concerns. Concerns regarding this application are many, including capacity issues with existing infrastructure that includes water, sewage, and road work capacity. They're also concerned about potential damage to the neighboring properties. That includes loss of privacy, decreased property resale value, increased crime, violence, noise, and rodent issues. So to respond to those concerns that the community has provided, extra measures have been placed in our development agreement to address those impacts of this development. That includes a minimum of 6 meters existing vegetation and landscaping along the rear property line will be retained. Any disruption will be recovered to pre-disruption level or better. So opaque fencing will be installed along the to provide visual screening along the parking area, and landscaping will be provided all along property line with additional trees and shrubs at the various spots of this property. Staff have reviewed this proposal in terms of all relevant policy criteria and advised that the proposal is reasonably consistent with the intent of Eastern Passage Cow Bay Municipal Planning Strategy. Staff recommend that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council approve the proposed development agreement as set out in Attachment A of the staff report dated February 13th, 2023. And this concludes the presentation for today's public hearing, case 247-24573. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say Yanan Gu is our presenter from HRM today. I'm sorry, I should have introduced you as you came up. So thank you very much. Do we have any questions of clarification? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Mancini.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yanan, first time you presented to Community Council here?
Through the Madam Chair to the Council, the first time here at Harbour East Marine Drive. I've been.
And we're the best of all.
Yeah,
so
I would say
we're
that.
the most friendly. So
Yes.
Thank you. Good job, well done. Just very quickly in your list of concerns from the residents, I noticed increased crime. What was the claim on this building would have an increase in crime?
Through you, Madam Chair, to the Councillor, it is the neighboring property concerned about the number of units are larger than the established, like 1 unit, 2 unit. With the number of people, they are indicating that there might be increased crime happen from this.
Well, that's the case. We're in trouble in this city big time. So I'm just curious what that was. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions of clarification? No. Okay, so I am now going to open the public hearing. Thank you. And I'm going to invite the applicant, Ron O'Messy from Rome's Kegs Spryfield Limited, to provide their presentation if they have one.
I didn't have a presentation. I said I'll be happy to answer.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay, would you mind coming to the front? We have a question of clarification from Councillor Kent. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. On the it's not so much a non-disturbance area, because God bless Aaron McIntyre for having had to describe this to me many, many times at other developments. But sorry, my voice might give out a little here. The area that has to be restored, the 6 meter area that has to be restored after back to its original. That is a bone of contention regularly on developments, which you've probably had, in that if mature trees are taken down, it takes years for them to grow back. So my question to you is, do you have the capacity on that site not to have to clear cut that 6 meter space?
So first of all, I think that on both sides, there are hardly no mature trees.
That's right. It's at the back.
Most of them are in the back. And I will do my best effort not to remove trees if I can.
Okay.
And if I will have to remove the ones that are where the building is going to sit, then I will probably, when we get to the construction permit, and I will have to put down like a plan for vegetation and trees, etc., I'll definitely restore whatever needs to be restored.
Yeah, and I know, because I know staff would hold you to that, because it's in the development agreement. It's just around mature versus ones that have to take time to grow. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Austin.
Thank you. I'm just curious if, I mean, I think I already know the answer. It's kind of deja vu to that other public hearing down in your way. The parking lot out front, was there any ability to put that in the back of the building? Because of course, it would be better for the street front if the building is up towards the street versus the parking lot.
First of all, yes, there was an ability. But I think that we brought a very long list of reasoning why we recommend not to do that. So first of all, if you put the parking in the back, you need to put a driveway, and that needs to be 20 feet wide. And a 20 feet wide driveway, first of all, you kill a lot more vegetation in order to put a driveway going all the way to the other side of the property. This is one reasoning why not. The other thing is you'll have the driveway going just over the balconies of the units on the first floor. That's the second thing. The third thing, if you ask me, it's better to have a building as far away as you can from a busy street because, you know, it's more quiet, more privacy, et cetera, et cetera. It's exactly the same reasoning we brought up when we did the 386 Cow Bay, because it's the same idea that we have a stretched lot, and then you either put the building in the front and put a driveway taking the cars to the back or the opposite. We thought it's a better solution to do it the other way around.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No more questions of clarification? Okay, so we are opening it up to public participation, and speakers can participate for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please keep comments respectful on topic and directed to the chair, and the clerk will hold up a yellow sign when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is complete, the clerk will hold up a red sign. After everyone on the list has been given an opportunity to speak, I will call 3 times to see if there are any additional speakers. Now, don't have anyone signed up for this particular public participation. Does anyone wish to speak to this? Anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak? Okay. Thank you. Public hearing is now closed. Seconder, thank you. Okay. All in favor of public hearing closing?
Aye.
Aye. All right, go ahead, Councillor Ken.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council approve the proposed development agreement, which shall be substantially of the same form as set out in Attachment A of the staff report dated February 13th, 2023, and that to require the development agreement to be signed by the property owner within 120 days or any extension thereof granted by council on request of the property owner from the date of the final approval by council and any other bodies as necessary, including applicable appeal periods, whichever is later. Otherwise, this approval will be void and obligations arising hereunder shall be at an end. So moved.
Seconded by Councillor Austin. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Ken.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be supporting this. Ask for council's consideration of supporting it as well. And this really is very much like the one earlier in the last month, and it also is in very, very close proximity to it. And just to speak to Councillor Austin's question around front and back, I would agree with all of the proponents' interpretations of what thinks is better. And the other piece is parking vehicles and cars brings that loud noise sort of within a chamber of other buildings that would be louder to the neighboring areas, and potentially opportunities for crime and vandalism because it's kind of tucked into a pocket in behind, same sort of thing. And that area can actually get some of that activity. So I think that this is a better solution, keeping it that parking out close to the road. So I appreciate that. I also want to extend my thanks to this proponents as well for their consideration on that former project that we had before. They've worked hard to work with the residents that were here and presented, and we connected them to them, and it's been a very pleasant experience for them. So that's really encouraging, and I just ask that maybe we have that same kind of open dialogue if something comes along. Should this pass, if something comes along for residents in the area. But I've had absolutely no one reach out to me. When the sign first went up, there were people that said the exact same thing as what we had here tonight, which I'm not sure had any real big validity in relation to this particular project and the impact on that community. So I would ask for your support and bring more housing to Eastern Passage.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Austin.
Entirely support the recommendation and the area councillor, especially on this. It is very much the middle, the so-called missing middle housing, the small apartments that, we get a lot of huge scale and you get a lot of small scale, but the so-called missing middle is very much missing. And it seems whatever the case, Cal Bay policy-wise, market-wise seems to have a bit of a sweet spot for this right now, since that's two of these. I just wanted to chime back in on the parking piece. Every community has different contexts. I just look at it, putting on my planner hat, thinking about that public realm. One building, two buildings, they don't have a big impact. But if I question whether a streetscape that's entirely sidewalk and then parking lots for apartment buildings is really something that you want long term. One or two buildings is fine, but if we're going to see more and more of these, that's just my own perspective. Very much support the recommendation and your stance, Councillor. Thank you.
All right. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion has passed. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, we are moving on to correspondence. Madam Clerk.
Chair Purdy, correspondence was received and circulated for item 13.1.1.
Excellent. Petitions.
Madam Chair, the clerk's office did not receive any petitions for this meeting.
Excellent. And no petitions from council? No. Information items brought forward, we have none, and that takes us to the report. Staff report, case 22622, development agreement for 1268 Cole Harbour Road, Cole Harbour. And Vice Chair, would you mind taking the chair, and I'll put this on the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'll assume the chair. Councillor Purdy, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council give notice of motion to consider the proposed development agreement as set out in attachment A of the staff report dated February 28th, 2023 to allow for a 30-unit residential building and a 16-unit townhouse-style residential building at 1268 Cole Harbour Road, Cole Harbour, and schedule a public hearing. So moved.
Is there a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Kent. Any comment or question on the motion? Anybody want a presentation on the report?
No, this is first reading.
Okay, just want to clarify that nobody wants any presentations, just no questions, no clarifications.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Councillor Purdy.
Whoa, we mean business here tonight. Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to acknowledge we have received quite a bit of correspondence from neighbors in this for this development agreement. And as far as I understand, staff have addressed the issues quite fulsome, and I don't think there's anything in any of these correspondences that would prevent us from moving forward to a public hearing. And I think it's really, really important to get this out in the public, make sure this is in the public realm so that all of the concerns and issues that have been brought forward are addressed publicly and that staff can publicly respond to all of the issues, and that the developer will also have an ability to publicly respond to any clarifications that may need to be said to this. I think it's very important to have this move forward in that particular manner. And then at that time, if council feels like it has not been adequately addressed, or then we can at that time determine next steps at that point. But the public hearing is good, and I believe that it's necessary. Of course, this is our process, and there is just nothing right now preventing us from moving this development forward to that next stage in the process. So I ask that we would consider that for tonight, for the first reading tonight.
Any further comments from any other councillors? I'll call the question on the motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Madam Chair, I'll pass the chair back to you.
Well, thank you very much. We have members of community council. We don't have any motions. We have no in camera. Added items, no added items, no notices of motion. Public participation. And then public, yeah, so what I have discovered this week, so public participation is for anyone who wishes to speak to any matter except for any development that is coming to a public hearing. All comments related to any potential public hearings in the future must wait until that particular public hearing. So any public participation about matters other than a public hearing matter. Any public participation? And last time, public participation. All right, excellent. The date of our next meeting is May 11th, 2023. And someone move that we adjourn? Thank you, Councillor Austin. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming this evening.